Frank for Hank. And so, do I need to hold this?
Is it on?
Okay, it's still recording. I work in the TV business, but I rarely hold one of these. I was on that side of the camera where that man's standing. And I've got a lot of thoughts about what's going on in our county. And I got bad news for you, all of you. And if there's anybody who can't hear me, let me know, because I need to share the bad news. And I got good news, right? But this county has shifted tremendously under our feet over the last 10 years. And not really for the betterment of its citizens. Our liberty is being restricted under our noses almost month by month by the leadership of this county. There is a pale over this county, and it was brought to us. Now, I'm a Georgia boy. I'm from South Georgia, so I'm not really a Forsyth Countyan, but I've been here since 1998. And there are a lot of good people who've come here, but it has been brought to us by literally some carpetbaggers. And it's kind of crazy the way the whole thing has developed. But there is a pale over this county. The rights of landowners and businesses are being restricted. Now look, in the corporate world, in the business world, in the company world, there are limitations set forth by government that happened in the beginning of the end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century. And it basically says an industry can't consolidate unless it's unusual circumstances, but an industry can't consolidate down to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 players. It's not that those players, if there were only 1 or 2 in an industry, would act badly, but it is that because those players could act badly given the right opportunities. So we in America got smart enough, because when those players act badly, then it restricts the liberty and the opportunity of the population that they serve. We've got candidates and people in power who've run on Christianity on their sleeve, okay? And they've run on, we'll stop the traffic. We're going to address your traffic problems, all right? And some of those people are the same people who are bringing the biggest traffic problem Forsyth County's ever going to see. It's called the gathering, okay? Now, I'm not saying the gathering is a good thing. I'm not saying the gathering is a bad thing. I'm just saying that the people who said they're going to help you with your traffic are bringing the biggest traffic problem to Forsyth County. It will be like Phipps Plaza in Buckhead. That's the plan. Make no mistake about it. Okay? And they're telling you, oh, we build additional exits off of 400 to take care of the traffic problems. Because all those high-end shops are going to end up here eventually, over time. That's just a fact. And I don't know if you've ever driven through Buckhead during rush hour traffic with that one exit that takes care of that shopping area, but it backs up 400 for miles most days, right? And that's what we're going to have here. Now, will it help the tax base? Yeah, it'll help the tax base. Will it bring employment? Yeah, it'll bring employment. It'll have a lot of good stuff. I'm just saying, we got people who are bringing this to us who said they weren't going to do this. And we have limitations on our property use. So now, Hank has been bright enough to figure out for us, because he's paying attention, that if you're a landowner and you've been doing something that's been okay for decades or 100 years or whatever, the people in power in this county have decided that if they decide that it's not okay anymore, then they're going to remove your liberties. So this really isn't about us owning property. I don't own this house. The county lets me buy it, use it, and then I'll turn it over to somebody else. But in the meantime, they own it. That's their attitude. And that's just how it is here. It is that way in a lot of places in the United States. But we're supposed to be conservatives in this county. Sorry, I'm ready to unload. It's been building up.
Preach it.
Okay, yeah. We're supposed to be conservative. We're supposed to keep our liberties. But so they've passed a law, right, in May and August, in that time frame, where they can change how they view the use of your property, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's some mechanism that you'll have to go through, but they don't care. It's not yours. It's theirs. And it sounds an awful lot like central planning, because there is one or two puppet masters. There are one or two puppet masters. And they've made it clear to me that they were puppet masters. And I'm not going to get into details, but it has been made clear to me with regard to the property here. And so that's the bad news. That's kind of, that's the pill that exists today. The good news is we got an opportunity to fix it, right? I mean, we got an opportunity to make it right. We can unwind. It's not too late to unwind this thing. But we have to have people with a different view. So here, I'm going to read a view to you. Oh, by the way, they think the city belongs to them too. That's just my opinion. I'm not asking Troy to weigh in on that, and he won't. He shouldn't. He'd be smart not to. But this is what I think. My opinion only matters in my own home, by the way. And when Jessa lets me have it. A current office holder is passionate about making government operation data, including how taxpayer dollars are determined, allocated, and spent, more easily available for the community. Okay? That's admirable. I'm going to be more transparent, is what she's saying. But her attitude is about, I'm going to be more transparent about how we spend your money. Right? And by the way, they haven't been transparent about it. Okay? There's lots of examples where they haven't been transparent about it. But Hank's attitude is about, I'm going to identify, and look, we didn't compare notes before this. He trusted me to get up here and have this conversation with all of you guys and ladies and gentlemen without vetting what I was going to say. But his approach to this is, if we don't need to spend the dollars, we're not going to spend them. And we're certainly not going to do things like, I don't know, build a building for $41.8 million that it is now, where we can't even have meetings. Think about it. You can't make decisions. We all kind of figured that out pretty quickly with Hank's help. But they can't even have conversations in this building. But they don't care, because they have conversations over Facebook all the time. It's documented. So things are figured out before they're figured out. And that's just how it is. So I'm proud to ultimately we'll introduce Hank, but I'm proud to host you here and have this crowd. We've had Rotary parties. We've had Christmas parties. I think this is the densest. This house has been packed with people. Hank, you're the big draw in the last 7 years. Okay? But Hank will, in my view, figure out how we, number one, he'll make it transparent about how our money's being spent. And number two, he'll make sure that it is spent well with forethought and deployed in a manner that supports us without controlling us. And I definitely believe he will be the person who removes central control from Forsyth County, because they won't be able to operate with him in the room. And that's why I wanted to have this here with you guys tonight. I'm actually being a little bit selfish, because this is stuff I've been wanting to say for a long, long time. Another thing, too, let me just add this. People who run with their Christianity on their sleeve. Jordan Peterson, who's the psychiatrist out of Canada, he says, so this is not my original thought, but Jordan Peterson says, in the Judeo-Christian ethic, we don't take our Lord's name in vain, right? We don't, if you're a practicing Jewish person, you don't even write God out. G-D is how you write it, because you don't want to blaspheme God's name, right? And so in our mind, the way I grew up, it was, don't say G did. You know what I'm saying, right? Don't say it, because that's blasphemy, right? Jordan Peterson submits that if you use God, or Christ in our case, as the support, or can't remember exactly the word that he uses, but the reason to further advance your own agendas, wearing your Christianity on your sleeve, you're actually committing a more profound sin, is the word I'm going to use, but a more profound offense than what we traditionally think is using God's name in vain. To take your Christianity, put it on your sleeve, and try to drive home a campaign is a terrible thing to do. But we've bought into it around here, and many places do in the United States. But you don't have to, I asked Hank, I said, when were you saved? Because I didn't have to ask him if he was saved. I asked him when it happened. Because you can tell by the measure of a man how he comports himself and how he acts, if he's a man of God or not. He or she doesn't have to explain it to you, right? The other thing I would say is, there's a quote from C.S. Lewis, and I'll try to tie this in, then I'll turn this over to Troy, right? And the quote is, if you aim for heaven, you'll get heaven, and you'll likely get earth. But if you aim for earth, you'll miss out on earth, and you'll certainly miss out on heaven. So, if you, in my mind, Hank's going to aim for these objectives that are the liberty for Forsyth County citizens, turning property rights back over to the citizens of Forsyth County, in making sure that government is run in an extremely transparent manner. And if he shoots for that, he'll deliver for us. When he shoots for that, he'll deliver for us everything else that we want out of a county commissioner. That's why Hank's here at our house tonight in our support for him. Thank you.
Let you go home now.
So with that, where's Mr. Troy Brumbelow? I want to introduce Troy Brumbelow, the mayor of Cummings, Georgia.
Thank you, Bill. That's going to be a hard one to follow up on. Thank you for having us in your lovely home. I just got in from work this afternoon about 6:15, just took my shoes off, and Hank calls and says, you coming tonight? And I just got in from work. My day job pays, and the city job's about $32 a day. So I was working for a builder that paid. But anyway, how can you say no to Hank Sullivan? I mean, when you talk about a good friend and a great American, that's Hank Sullivan. But I tell you how much I trust Hank. Anybody flown with Hank? Raise your hand. Hank invited me to go flying, and it was a cool morning, and we get up there, and the airplane won't crank. So about 30 minutes, we're trying to crank the plane, and finally he's got me pushing it down the runway and got it to start off, and I, got in and flew with him anyway. So we had a great trip, but let's be clear, I'm the mayor of Cummings, not part of Forsyth County government. Anybody here's taxes gone through the roof? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I can tell you in my 8 years in office, the city's budgets went up less than 3%. In the same amount of time, the county budgets went up $132 million. From $100 million to $232 million. So just let that sink in. Hank's a guy that doesn't want to waste your money, right? I read an article the other day, Hall County had lowered their millage rate for 11 consecutive years. Their millage rate is less than half of what it is here in Forsyth County, right? So that's our money they're spending. That's not their money, that's our money, right? And so Hank will be a good steward of our money, and I know that. Anybody here think that, I think Hank's term's a boondoggle. Does anybody think that the city ought to annex the county admin building so they can vote in it? Please raise your hand. All right, just for the camera, no hands got raised. So I just wanted to, I've had one person out of now probably 500 that thinks that we should do that, and they were a county employee. Yeah. I've known them my whole life. I mean, I love them, but that's the only person. But Hank, I thank you for your transparency on everything. Anybody read Hank's substacks? I know most of you have. I mean, it's just so thoroughly investigated. We need stuff like that. So I support you, like I said, 110%. And thank you for having me here.
All right, so next, we're going to have Lauren McDonald come up and speak. While he's coming up, I did want to mention that on social media, it's been mentioned that the commissioners have circled their wagons, right? But Hank's been a one-man Gatling gun. They have no idea how to respond to his responses. Lauren McDonald, state representative.
Thank you, Bill.
What do you say?
What a crowd. Hank, you humble a lot of people with what you're doing, and they're out here to support you, and it's really good. I want to thank the Fielders again. This is something you kind of heard before. He gives back to this community. He's currently our Rotary president of the Lanier Forsyth Rotary Club. Carter and I helped start that club 25 years ago, and it's solid, 100 people solid in that club today, and it's with Bill's leadership that it's growing and it's serving this community. I think Bill did the Derby Day. How many people have been to Derby Day before? Out here, right, Dr. Hogan's. They raise about $130,000 a year that goes back into this community to help Mentor Me, to help Family Haven, and many of the organizations that y'all support and our business support. And that's, business is important in this community. This is kind of why we're all here. You've heard property rights, but as a business owner, what Hank is doing by putting his name online, it's hard. It's hard for Carter and myself and Brent. I mean, we get arrows thrown at us all the time. And for Hank to step up, Bill's put his name on the line before. And it's hard to get out there, knock on doors, see people, and have an opinion of what you think is going to be best for this community. So we've all got kind of a taste of what Hank's been wanting to do through his Substack. We don't always agree. Hank showed up in my office at the Capitol. Didn't really know Hank that well, but he walked in, sat down across from me, and he says, "You sit in an unconstitutional office. I'm a governor's floor leader." So getting that from Hank, I'm like, hell, what'd I do? I mean, I just sat there and took it. And I tried to argue back, but it's sometimes hard to argue back with Hank. So that's always been kind of our little back and forth. But, we're not always going to agree on everything. Some of the opinions, even Bill, what he thinks about some of the projects in the county, we may not agree on. But for someone like myself, I'm going to use my friend Carter here. Carter's been banking this community for 32 years, and he's worked for a bank, he's built a bank, he's sold a bank. But it's been beyond just the business side of it. Carter's been serving. He's been on about every board in this community, helping people, and it's important that people understand that the sacrifice that Hank and his wife are about to make going into this campaign. It's hard. It's hard for Jamie, Carter's wife, what she has to go through, and the calls Carter gets, and what you see on social media. It's not fun sometimes. And I just want to thank Hank for stepping up when you made the call. We're looking for somebody that really cares about this community and wants to give back. And when you made that call, I said, I'm with you. and I'm a man of my word, and so I want to wish you luck, and you got friends all in this room, and they're here for you, so use them. Let's go raise some money, and let's win this thing.
Thank you, Larry Goblin. Really appreciate that. And then next, I'd like to invite up Carter Barrett, State Representative, District 24, right?
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right? And you've been introduced, my word, so there you go.
Everybody in this room has heard this before, but I'm going to read it anyway, just because I think it's. I was watching a thing the other night on what was that, Fox Nation, on Teddy Roosevelt, and I got emotional. And I've heard this 100 times, and it didn't affect me like it did the other night. But the other night it really did. The man in the arena, Teddy Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. But there's no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails by daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I love that quote for some reason. I've heard it 100 times, and it never really resonated with me as much as it did the other night. I even got emotional on it. My father is 97 years old. He passed away last night at 7:20. And Hank having this event, I thought, and I was over in Augusta, I'm going to get in the car, and I'm going to be back over there to support the man in the arena. Jamie's got a couple of props over here. And everybody has to listen to me ever speak. They hear me say it over and over again. This is our purse. I get it. It's not really a purse. Well, it is a purse. John, hold on to that for a minute. That purse holds currency. That purse is made out of currency. It's made out of Venezuelan currency. Wow. The paper is worth more than the currency. When I first ran for office, I had to give a debate. And I remember looking out in the audience, and Hank was out there. And a lot of people in this room that I didn't know before I ran for office, we weren't really pals. You know, who was I to go run for office, and there was an established candidate already there, and the nerve of me running. But I got to know a lot of people in this room that I heretofore had not been that friendly with. Hank was one of them. Brett Cromie was one of them. Byron Stewart, we used to be pals, then we kind of got sidetracked. And I love these guys. They're people who are not afraid to engage, mix it up, exchange ideas, and then realize who they're talking with and get to know each other. I got a huge kick out of this guy right here, John Holman, who's a great pal of mine. We just became friends along the way. And I became great friends with that guy along the way. And then I learned out they're brothers-in-law. And I thought, how awesome is that? Birds of a feather flock together. Because I know what a great guy he is, and I knew what a great guy he was. I thought, these guys should know each other. Well, they're brothers-in-law. But when I was in that first debate, I looked out in the room, and I remember thinking, to me, the number one issue in this country is, that faces every family, roiling families in America, is inflation. I've been warning folks and talking about it since 2013. But when I really want to go to school on the issue and understand it, you know who I call? I call that guy. Because he's 22 times smarter than I am. He knows this stuff backwards and forwards. I think it's the premier issue in this country, and that's the guy I call the expert. I carry this prop around just for fun. I keep a dragon made out of the same currency on my desk at the Capitol. There's a constant reminder about that. But most importantly, the man in the arena. I mean, where's it? That was right there. When I ran for office in 2022, people sent out all kinds of crazy stuff about me. Here's some of the mailers. I'm the king of high-density development. They put me in a crown and a robe and a scepter. Carter's going to flood our roads with more traffic. He's going to overcrowd our schools with more students. He's going to ruin our community with high-density developments and destroy our way of life. I thought, really? Because I'm not a developer. I've never developed anything in my life, and I've been here for 35 years, and I've never been in front of the county commission one time ever, except for to say hello or have a cup of coffee or whatever. Things like that. I thought, you know what? I didn't necessarily want to run for office, but I got tired of the idea that I heard too many people say, I can't run for office. They'll just blow me to pieces. They'd say things like, I have too many skeletons. But people were literally intimidated about running for office. I thought, this is crazy. And the idea that there's a gatekeeper that will anoint you and let you run for office or not. I was like, I'm running for office because there's not going to be a gate. I'm going to kick the gate off the damn hinges.
Come on.
Anybody in this room who wants to run for office should be able to run for office. We need strong people and smart people to run for office. We need a healthy exchange of ideas. We need debate. And you need to be confident enough to run for office without fear of being obliterated for the effort.
That's right.
And that's why I drove back from Augusta to Dike to be here to support Hank in this endeavor. So, Hank, I just appreciate you running. We definitely don't agree on some things, but we definitely agree like crazy on other things, and that's a beautiful thing, because we don't need to have a whole bunch of elected officials that are clones of each other and parroting the same old stuff. That's a great way to have a crappy community. So I love that we have smart people. I love that we're being more thoughtful about who we're going to elect for office. I think the world of this guy, and I'm just grateful for you running. And for the people who have the temerity to get out there and run, when people play fast and loose with the truth, we need to come roaring in to their defense and say, I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit on that. We're going to stick up for each other, and we're going to stick up for the truth. That's the only way we can be. But anyway, I thank y'all for letting me even come here and blather on for a minute. Hank, thank you for running. Thank you for being in the arena. I appreciate you.
Y'all, Carter's right. There's a terrible undertow in this county, and Hank's running against it. So this is the last person I'm going to introduce, then he's going to turn around and introduce Hank, but State Representative Brent Cox. Hall in Forsyth County?
Correct.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Hank, will you come up here? Appreciate you. Carter, thank you for being here. December 9th of 21, I lost my father before I decided to run. And it was a very difficult time in my home. My brother had passed away 3 months earlier. And he slept, and in 6 hours he was gone. And thankfully I was able to be with him at Gainesville in the hospital with my brother as he passed away. And everyone here is praying for you and y'all as a family. And we've gone through a lot with family and your mom and everything while we're at the Capitol. I love you, brother, and praying for you. On a different note, we definitely have not agreed on everything. The greatest of these would be Georgia Tech football. In all fairness, with my father, I grew up my entire life going to Georgia Tech football, and Hank has since learned that me and my middle brother, that's still alive, both our names came from where?
Georgia Tech football.
So out of the blue, I get some spontaneous video from Hank, who never stops doing research, and puts, "This is who you're named after." And who was it?
Brent Cunningham.
And back in the 1969, I was born in 70, so Hank apparently knew the people whom I was named after. So, in fairness and honor to my father, yes, and go Dogs to hell with Tech. Anyway, just to get that out of the way. I think most important to me is getting to know you and your wife. And I wasn't fully aware of how much her involvement was in the world of dogs and a champion helping animals and just passionate about this. And I've since learned that, and I'm sure many of you knew that. If you didn't, you need to better understand who Hank is and his wife. The other part is, Hank, what is your degree? Where did you go to school and what's your degree?
Well, I have 2 degrees.
I'm aware
First
of that.
one.
I'm aware of that. I knew you would correct
I
me.
didn't know where you were going to go with that. Civil engineering, Georgia Tech, and MBA, Georgia State.
Okay. Are you a high-density developer?
I don't even know any developers.
And the type of homes that you build are what?
They are custom homes, and they're built on, one of my customers is here tonight, built on his property. He owned the property. We're not developing any property. We're taking one down. We're putting another one up, and that's what our business is.
Oh, okay. So did you ever build any homes in polo fields?
I did. Yes, I did.
Interesting enough, I didn't know this till today, and it wasn't from him. I was on the phone with someone, and they said, hey, can we get together? I said, no, I'm going to an event tonight. Hank Sullivan is doing his kickoff. They go, is that Hank Sullivan, the builder from Gainesville? I went, yeah. He went, he built my home in polo fields. He's a great guy. Now, here's the amazing part. Polo fields was helped develop by the Dominicans and Howard Chatham. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. Howard Chatham's who I went to church with in Roswell, the Chatham family. If not for their forethought, you're not building houses in polo fields. But here's an idea. Is polo fields exactly what we're after in this county?
Exactly.
Okay, so there you have it. So anybody that wants to say anything different, it's an outright lie. And the truth is, as it relates to the city of Cumming, I happen to represent the county and the city. Lauren McDonald represents the county and city, and Greg Dolezal is the senator for the county and city. Here's what I will tell you. I have never had an issue working with the city council or the mayor, Troy Brumbelow. To date, I have not received a phone call from our county commissioner, which he's running against. I have reached out. I've done all that I can do, and all I can say is thank you for fighting me, debating me, challenging me, and making me better. I did not like Abraham Lincoln until you made it clear that I needed to. And then to follow it up, he sends me his book. Oh, by the way, you might want to read this. And then if I don't read it, then shame on me, right?
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Because I like John Adams. I'm a John Adams fan and Ronald Reagan. Of course, I do love President Trump, but that's who I am.
Yes.
So the reality is, I just want to say thank you for putting your name out there, for running. I know this wasn't your dream or ambition, as it was not mine, but we need great people. We need good people. We need average people. We need people to run. Don't be afraid of running. You may fail. Get up. You'll learn something. You've already learned much, I'm sure.
No.
And there he is. That's it. So with that being said, Hank, I love you and your wife. I appreciate all that you do. And y'all, Hank Sullivan.
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt.
It's your house.
No. The plan was for Brent to introduce Hank. What I've learned living in my house is that if when things go well around here, they go well, right? If they don't go well, if something goes badly, it's my fault. So, are we ready? Are we good?
I need that.
You need this,
I need
okay?
that for 2 seconds.
We have to. All right. So we have to change out batteries. Antonio, right?
Yes.
So Antonio said, you got to interrupt. He didn't put it like that, but he said you got to interrupt. You got to actually now, try to fill the room with noise. And he had this look on his face like it's your fault because you went on too long. So,
Well, this is awkward, isn't it?
consistent.
Yeah.
All right. Is it just the batteries in the microphone
That's it.
that you have to change?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So without further ado, Mr. Hank Sullivan.
There we go. I didn't want to do this. You're right. I didn't want to do this. This is the last thing in the world I need to be doing when I'm 70 years old. If I take office, when I take office, I'll be 71 years old. This was not in the cards. It is a sacrifice, but it's more than just a sacrifice for me. It's a sacrifice for my wife, Wendy, because this wasn't in her cards either. We've been married for 45 years. Never once did I express that I wanted to run for office. Not one time did I ever say that. At the same time, it's almost, in my mind, become imperative that I run for office. Because, frankly, I don't know anyone who is equipped to do what I believe that needs to be done better than me. So it's like I'm the default of me. I don't know how else to say it. I have lived in this county now, Wendy and I have lived in this county for 40 years. We've been in the same house now for 38 years. We're not going anywhere. But the county, the way that this county is run is not like it was run when we moved here. We called it God's country when we moved here. Every one of my subcontractors would call this God's country because we were actually living in Roswell. So where you live, I live in God's country. Where's that? One county north. Okay. We finally drove up here and we found out, yeah, this is a great place to be. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to have your family. We have everything in this county. At the same time, the government that was operating in the county at that time were locals. It was like the people down the street. It was like, hey, Mr. Stevens, hey, Mr. Whatever it might be. Everybody knew who was running the government, and they were really your friends. And I hate to say it, but it all changed when they built the first administration building that we're in right now. Everything changed, and I'll tell you why that is. It changed because they had a place to start congregating government to control the lives of the people in this county. And the bigger the government gets, the more control they exert, and the worse life gets to the people in this county. This county is not being run by the will of the people. It is being run by the will of 3 people. And for some reason, they keep getting elected. There's a million issues that we can talk about, but it all boils down to this lust for power and control of the people in the county by the commissioners is destroying life in this county. Just recently, as Bill was talking about, they have legislated a new ordinance to give them better ways to control the destruction of your business when your business has been grandfathered in and it's not part of their master plan. The term central planning has been used tonight. Yeah, these are terms that are on my mind all the time. We have central planners here. Soon after they built the existing administration building, then they brought in a whole new panel of planners. Now, these are not local people. These are not people who were invested in this county. They were not people who had lives already built into this county, that had a history with this county, that knew the people that lived in this county. They didn't know anybody. And they started planning. And they haven't stopped. And now their ideas of this perfect world of perfect zoning, of a perfect landscape of their zoning criteria is overruling the fact that we've got 100-year-old businesses here that are now in jeopardy by virtue of an ordinance they passed in August that gives them, all they have to do is make up a reason. That's it. Make up a reason that someone has changed their business outside of what was grandfathered in, like they moved a stack of lumber over here, or now they're parking over here, or whatever it might be. All they have to do is make up a reason, and the next thing you know, they get issued a notice that has 18 months that starts ticking when they receive the notice. Now, they'll tell you, oh, that's not what it is. This is just for the bad actors. This is for the guys that they're the ones that have the big blow up floppy guys on the day on Saturdays. These are guys we don't want in our county business. That they're tacky. They're not what we want. You know, no. That guy's been operating there for 40 years. That guy's been operating there since the chairman of our county commission was in grammar school. Yet the hubris involved with these people is absolutely beyond the pale. I can't imagine people being this proud of themselves that they're going to sit back and judge whether someone's business is really in the right place or not after they've been operating there for 40 years. So if you can't tell, private property rights is big with me. You buy a piece of property and Bill, I mean, you said it right. You know, county owns this place. You know, they can tell you what you can and can't do on your property here. Now, it's one thing if you buy into an HOA, you bought into that. You knew that. There were rules, and then you're part of that. But if you're not, and the county decides that you're not mowing your grass right, some of our county commissioners want to make sure that you're going to mow your grass. And if you don't, they're going to mow it and charge you and fine you. Now, that's not an ordinance. That's what they wanted to do, and it was stopped by the people. But you see what kind of mentality that is? That's not healthy. I mean, that's basically a sickness. That if you want to get that into everyone's life, that you want to control their lives because of some way that you think that you're going to create some kind of a nirvana here, some kind of a heaven on earth, because you can legislate what people can do and what they can't do. That's got to stop. But it's not going to stop as long as these guys are operating as our county, in control of our county commission. Now, there were three county commissioners who voted to spend $140 million of your money on this administration building. 3 people out of 280,000 people made that decision. They didn't even have 5 out of 5. They had 3 out of 5. And they decided to build that even knowing that the county commission cannot lawfully meet and deliberate and vote there. 11 months prior to that night, that decision was made on January the 18th, 2024. 11 months prior to that is when I understand that the county attorney learned of this. Now, that's hard to imagine too. Why wouldn't the county attorney know this long before that? Why wasn't he born knowing this? But then he tells the county manager. And the county manager goes, What does he do? He calls Lauren. He says, Lauren, we need to change the law. Lauren's like, tell me what? We need to change the law. We need to be able to to grandfather in the county out there so we can have this administration building outside of the city of Cumming. They don't want to be in the city of Cumming. Why? Because they can't control the city of Cumming. These people are bent on controlling everything about this county. They want every elected office. They want every assigned office. They want to be able to control everything about this county. And if they can't control it, then they don't like it, and they don't like the people that are controlling it. That's the problem between this county and the city of Cumming, is that the people who are really running this county can't control the city of Cumming. So they're not happy about that. There's nothing the city's done. I was at the county fair. I was lucky enough to be paired up to man the Republican Party booth with Laura Simonson. Now, I didn't know that. Maybe she didn't know that, but there we were. And if anyone's ever had a talking to by Laura Simonson, then you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't very pleasant. But then she went to tell me that the problem with the administration building and not being able to vote, that's a problem with the city. I said, the city's gotten, she said, you're interrupting me. I said, excuse me. It's not a problem with the city. It's a problem with the county. The county made every decision, and then they knew it when they voted. And we had two commissioners that night, Carrie Hill and Laura Simonson, on the night of the vote, that say that they just learned about this problem that day. Really? So the county manager knew about it 11 months ago. The county attorney knew about it 11 months ago. Even Alfred John said he knew about it 2 years ago, but he said, but I was told that everybody else knew. Oh, so you're not going to bring it up and say, just checking, did you know that we can't vote out there? No, can't talk about that. So here it is. Every one of them, these three, voted knowing that they could not meet and they could not vote out there. And here it is. We had this monument built to 3 commissioners on the side of Georgia 400. You cannot miss it when you pass north of Pilgrim Mill. It is a monstrosity. And they have built themselves these observation platforms up there where they can sit in their offices and they can behold Sawney Mountain. I mean, folks, government needs to live in a salt box. Government needs a building that is rectangular at most, preferably square, and very few windows. We just need to get the bare minimum for government to do what it's there to do. It doesn't own us, we own it. And the best way... The best way that we can show them who is really the boss here is we don't put up with it. You let them know we're not putting up with it. And I don't know when that moment happened when all of a sudden it was over and I was not going to let them live with this, control me anymore. It might have been the night of the Chamber of Commerce. It might have been the night of the Chamber of Commerce. So here it is. We have Brent Cox and Lauren down there at the Chamber of Commerce. And Brent got up. He said he was appalled at the way that these people had treated one of the candidates for the Board of Education, a Republican candidate. They had publicized pictures of her children online, and they had acted like bullies. And so Brent came up with the term cyberbully. And that's exactly what they were. They were being cyber bullies. And that's the way that they were treating people running for office. Because they don't want you. They don't want good people running for office. Because you might win. That might inject some goodness into this government. They don't want that. They want to control it. And they're going to beat you over the head if you ever try. They want to try to beat me over the head. Go a try. Just try. I'm fine with it. You know, one of the great things about being 70 years old when I do this is that, you know, I'm not looking for a resume. I built a resume. My wife and I have built a resume. We know who we are. We know what we've accomplished in this world, and nobody can take that away from us. And if I didn't run for office, I wouldn't care. And I'll be honest with you. The day that I decided to do this, I called another guy who I had heard had been planning on doing this too, and that's Adam Rhodes. I said, Adam, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm telling you, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring. And he goes, huh, so am I. I said, okay, good. More the merrier. Come on in. And I told Adam, see, I have so much confidence in Adam, and I have so much respect for Adam, that if it ever came down to him or me, I would tell you, you know, look, I have my strengths, I have my weaknesses. Adam has his strengths, he has his weaknesses. You've got to decide who's got the best strengths and the least weaknesses that you want to represent you. But I'm never going to say a bad word about him. He's a great guy. I have no problems with Adam. If he were to represent me, the county commission, this would be in good hands. But I tell you what, the reason why I decided to stay in this is because I do not believe that there's a soul in this county that can do what I think needs to be done down there, and we need to clean house. There's not a soul in this county that I believe would do what I think needs to be done down there better than me. And that's why I'm running. And that's why I appreciate you so much coming out this evening. You all, you have no idea how encouraging it is to have such a great turnout. And that helps me. Because I'm not in this for me. I'm not in this because I want to do this. And if I were here and there was nobody here and I wasn't talking to 5 people, that wouldn't be really encouraging. But we fill this house up. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate that you've been out here to support me in this endeavor. So thank you so much. If I win, I will do my utmost. I'm never going to agree with everybody, but I will do my utmost to fulfill the will of the people in this office. Thank you.
Good job, man. My pleasure having you here. Look, y'all, this is about you getting to know Hank a little bit better than you did before. But Hank's not going to say this, but I am. We need to dig deep in our pockets, okay, and make a contribution. I'd challenge you guys to pull your phones out, and you ladies too. Spend your husband's money, and then treat them well when you get home tonight. Make a serious contribution to this campaign, because it will make a difference, and your dollars will be well spent. Your dollars will make a difference. And my pledge to you is I'm going to make a contribution, a significant one tonight. Before this evening is over, I just encourage all of you to follow that lead, please. All righty? Yep. Thank you.
me say one more thing. Let me say one more thing, please. You see these signs that are marking the road there? Everyone who would like one, please take one and put it proudly in your yard, okay? All right? Thank you.
Crazy but proud. I'm sorry, I had to dial back for you about 8 about it. Going around educating the world about Abraham Lincoln.
That's going to conclude the live stream for tonight. Came down here to hang out with Hank Sullivan in Forsyth County. Believe in more people like Hank running for office, so we came down here just to hang out and decided to do a live stream. So I can't really do anything for Hank, so you can share this live stream out far and wide. Let the people of Forsyth County know that they've got a really good man, a very good integral man running for office, and we believe in people like Hank Sullivan, and we want to help them all throughout Georgia so we can take things back. So I appreciate it, and we're going to get off here. Talk to you later.
Trivia question. When we were at that VFW conference on that meet and greet, we had pizza that night. This very subject came up, and one of those commissioners was there. All I know is he seemed to be a little heavy set.
Hey everybody, this is Jerry Paris coming to you on behalf of Small Town Underground. We've produced a petition. This petition is for a full investigation to be completed on 2 parcels of land in Chattooga County, Georgia. It's easy to see through our preliminary investigations that the land was bought using shell companies and possibly using stolen Ponzi scheme money. This land was bought by a Hong Kong-owned CCP-based company called Christian Jing-Shing Association. And it was bought to place a drug rehab center right smack dab in the heart of God-loving rural community in farmland, USA. This is all while the Chinese constantly send tons of fentanyl to our country to kill our kids. If you live in Georgia, stand up and sign the petition.
Go to www.smalltownunderground.com, and there you will find a link that takes you straight to change.org so you can help sign this electronic petition and help us get to the bottom of what's actually going on with this Chinese farmland that has been bought on U.S. soil. Thank you for your support.